Today on the channel I'm going to be making a Mando breastplate for my Mandalorian cosplay, and if you're interested in making one of your own, there's a link to the patterns below. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is the center emblem, which is the number 1 piece, which is cut out of 6mm EVA foam, and the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, which are 3mm EVA foam, and this is all straight cuts. On the outside of these pieces, they're straight. But as marked on any of the inside pieces, where the 2, 3, 4, and 5 join to the 6, you're going to need to cut it at an outward bevel or an outward angle. It doesn't have to be super extreme, but it just needs to be an outward angle. Next, I'm going to use contact cement, and I'm going to brush some onto each surface to be bonded. And how this works is once you brush it on, you let the pieces sit for 15 minutes. After 15-20 minutes, it should be totally dry to the touch and not sticky, and then you can join the pieces together. Okay, all glued together, it should have kind of a fingerboard pyramidal shape. And I'm gonna glue this into the center of this. Okay, I got it glued in, and I just used super glue. I didn't use contact cement. Super glue gives me a second to kind of position it around. And then the center accent piece is just a number 6 that I cut a little bit smaller out of 2mm EVA foam. And same thing, I just used some super glue to glue it in again so I could just get it positioned exactly in the center. Smaller stuff like this I have some trouble with. Alright, now that this is fully assembled, we can stick that off to the side for now. And the chest number 1 pieces, you're going to need 2 of them. And the first thing I'm going to do is heat them up with my heat gun and put a little bit of curve into it. And just by heating one side of it, you can see it puts a nice gradual curve. If you want a little bit more, you can tweak a little bit more, but I'm going to leave it right about there. Just a bit of a curve. And if you want a definite spot, I would probably say from this point on the bottom up. I just try to make sure they're as similar in shape as possible as far as the shape of the curvature and all that. And remove the heat gun for now, and I'm going to apply contact cement along this edge here and this edge here, and along the number 2 and the top and sides of the number 3. And notice on the patterns they say angled inward bevel or inward angle for the sides that need to have that inward cut. Okay, that's very important for this stuff to actually fit together. Okay, fully assembled. Each chest piece looks like this. Now I put contact cement from this edge here and overlap onto the underside. And that's where your number 4 pieces are going to go, which, if you look at them, it has a inward angle cut on this edge here. The other cuts are just straight. Attach that to that. And then line that up with there, like that. This corner here, I'm going to round out with the Dremel, which I will be sanding both of these separately prior to actually gluing the two halves together into the full chest piece. There's some things that would just be a bit too difficult for me to try and sand once the two are glued together. Okay. Let's break out the Dremel. I blended that together and just rounded off the corners and sanded the seams a little bit. Next, we have the number 5 pieces, which the top part has an outward angle cut. The other cuts are straight. It's going to go from the 3 to the corner of the 3 and then come up the side like that and glue onto the outside of the 4. Okay, the main chest pieces are assembled. I'll do a little bit more heat forming once I get the two actually glued together. And I didn't show it on camera, but I went through with my Dremel and just angled off the outside of this inner piece here like that. And now I'm going to glue the two together, but somewhat offset so that this is going to be lower than either of the two chest pieces. Okay, that's the chest and the emblem fully assembled. Next, we're going to work on the under part. If you notice the shiny areas around the seams where I glued the two halves together, that is because I used some super fast, thin, instant adhesive super glue. It's industrial grade, it's just pure chemical, and put it on both sides just to make sure this doesn't come apart, because it's not glued together by much of an edge, being already that I sanded this and that it's offset. Okay, putting aside the chest for now, focusing on the abs. Make sure that on your 2 and 3 pieces you have your inward angle cuts along the edge as marked with an inward bevel or inward angle. Next, I'm going to take my heat gun and heat this very much like I did with the chest to give it a slight curve. Okay, now that your lower part, your ab area is done, mark in the center and the center of your number 4, because the number 4 is going to get glued in behind along this edge, offset by about 5 millimeters or so. Okay, from there, all there's left to do is to glue the two together, which I've done. And it's only glued at 2 points, which is on the number 5 of the chest to the number 2 of the abs. And there's about a ½ inch gap in between, but if I bend forward, it allows for a bit of movement if need be. But the other option, and the other thing I thought of, was just wait until I got the actual undershirt that I'm going to use and glue them separate but overlapping like this, so if I bent forward I'd have even more articulation and would be able to also twist to the side a little bit more, but I think this will be fine. Next I'm going to use some Mod Podge and a brush to seal this up. Alright, I did 3 layers of Mod Podge until I was certain it was covered and the foam wasn't maybe showing any of its texture through. And then I painted it a gloss black. And now I'm going to layer some Createx Wicked Silver over this with my airbrush. I'm getting closer to having a full Mandalorian cosplay, but not quite there yet. In fact, I doubt this will even be done until at some point in 2021, hopefully. Okay, that's going to pretty much wrap it up for this build. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and it gave you some ideas for projects of your own, and if nothing else, help you pass the time. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, as it does help out the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and have a great day.